Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And let's mute that. So how do you do, everybody? My name is John Limcool. Hands together, head bowed. Welcome. Hopefully I messed up on the newsletter with the link, so I hope you guys can find. Actually, you know what I might do? I might share this link really quick on Facebook and see if that helps. Over here. I might share this link really quick on Facebook. Need to. There. So to start with, we have a new library. I am thrilled to introduce to you guys Subsonic Arts. Fred Nanga has created a very fun, creative deep dive into synthesis called ElectronicA. I'm playing it from Unify. It's a little bit more exciting here because he's made unique custom multis, combining multiple layers. This is using like 6 repros. And a piano from Unify's library. They have custom artwork. If you click up here, each patch and each category of patches. It's just beautiful artwork to go along with the really cool sounds. You have patches which, well, there's a video walkthrough that I did for 40 minutes showing you a good part of the library, so you can check that out. If you're a fan of any style of electronic music, you're gonna love all sorts of things in this library. As you can see from the knobs, there's things that are silent that you can turn on. Give you some rhythm. You can actually go into other libraries. Like, let's go to just the standard library, go BPM drum, say old time chill. Play along with that. Really fun. Fun chord. So, and I'm really fortunate in that I was able to get Fred, who lives in France outside of Paris, to join us. So in a minute, I'll be bringing him on. Get to meet him. Let me show you a few more sounds. So there's 250 sounds for Repro. You can go to the presets page. Here is the library. There's all sorts of beautiful, right? Now, Repro-1 is monophonic, but he has made a whole bunch of polyphonic patches. And as I've shown in the live stream, there's 3 steps. You have to go up here to layer, MIDI effects, polybox 4 layers if you want a 4-voice polyphonic. Then you click right here where it says in. That's the MIDI in. Change it to polybox. So you're having this layer talk to polybox, and change it to MIDI channel 1. All you have to do, go to this bullet and say duplicate with 3 next channels, and now it's polyphonic. Really, really fun. So any of the patches, any patch in Repro, this whole steps, those 4 steps, can take any patch in Repro and turn them into a polyphonic synth. So if you come down in the library, you notice that there's 250 for Repro, there's 318 patches for Unify. Because look at all these poly patches are patches where he's taken bass patches and made them polyphonic, or pads like sad part. And you can look over here at the number of layers to tell you we got 5 voices of polyphony to play with on this one. So let's say I wanted 8 voices of polyphony. You could open up Polybox, change the pool from 5 to 8, go down to the 5th layer and just click the little bullet and say, hey, give me 3 more with the next MIDI channel. And just like that, now it's 8 voice polyphonic. So it's crazy, fun, and creative. All sorts of opportunities like that to expand the voicing on these things. Really, really fun. So without further ado, let me go over here and let's ask to unmute. So I've asked to unmute Fred. Go ahead and say okay. And let's see here. I will bring, it hasn't unmuted yet. There we go. And now we are live with Fred. Hello, Fred.
There we go.
He's going to start seeing the delayed reaction. And then
live with Fred.
If you can turn on the audio of your computer.
I've got a bit of delay. That's why you.
Yes, there's a buffer between the video and our live, so you'll have to turn down the computer.
Yeah, it's better to turn on the sound there.
Yes.
Because, yeah.
So everybody say hello to Fred. Hello, Fred.
Hi to everybody. Nice to see you. Thank you for being here.
Yes. Well, thank you for joining us for this. So real quickly, such a great library. There's so many places you went in this library. What was your driving? We'll talk about past a little bit in a minute, but for this particular library, I mean, the artwork is just so fun and unique. You've got such really cool, creative, fantasy kind of patches and sounds. What was your driving picture in your mind for this library?
At the beginning, John, I just wanted to build a new library dedicated to the history of the electronic music.
Yes. Okay.
And by the way, I already did one in the past for Repro-1, and that is called Computer Welt.
Okay.
Dedicated to only Kraftwerk.
Right.
And by the way, there are some extra bonus patches from this library into this one.
Right. And
then I had the idea to go further on this concept of describing some electronic music. And
right.
Yeah, I did a pleasure to myself and went back to the past when I was a teenager and loved Jean-Michel Jarre and then so on.
Yes.
And then only, my money is so creative. So I don't have to do so much. It comes to me like this.
Yes. Just
an idea, a new sound, a new image in my mind, and then poof, I work on this and use Midjourney.
Exactly. Yeah. So what is your take on Midjourney? Are you as happy as I am that such a tool exists for creating what you hear in your mind? What you see in your mind, right?
Composer and library developer. Yeah, of course.
Yes.
Maybe I would be a bit more. Sorry, I'm searching my words in English. Maybe I would be worried if I would be a graphic designer, by example.
Sure.
Because it's getting crazy. But yeah, in my place. Yeah, what do you want more? Every idea you've got in mind, you can find the exact artwork you're looking for.
Yes.
So it's great.
Yes.
Of course.
Yes.
I'm building another library right now, and it's the same. I'm always using Midjourney now, and thanks to Unify, I really can develop the way I always had in mind to work with sounds and image and them together, working together and creating some kind of universe,
yes.
you can say.
Yes, yes. you can make a more solid presentation with both sound and something to inspire your eyes, right?
Yeah. It's like a sort of mini world, you can say.
Yes.
A sort of kinematic idea that comes to my mind, and then I can illustrate that. And it's like a mini movie in the mind. That's why it's so inspiring, according to me.
Yes. Did you see the Luftrum? He did a new April Fool's. Did you see the new one where he has? If you haven't seen it, I'll put a link in the video chat here. Luftrum, another developer that makes patches and makes very good libraries, and he's a really nice person. He's great. He did I'll find it's here. It's called Synth CPT instead of Chat CPT.
Yeah, I saw that. It was quite cool, and maybe it will come this way one day. Huh? Maybe, who knows? For now, it's an April Fool, but you never know. When you see how far ChatGPT can go now.
Yes.
For example, my son is always using it to work at the university and so on.
Yes.
When you see the power of Midjourney version 5 and on, the speed with the new updates every month, poof, you can maybe imagine that one day you and I will just be out of work.
Yeah,
maybe.
Well, there's been good discussions. One thing that I think is important to remember is that AI is able to look at the past, but it can't look forward.
Yeah.
It can't create something from scratch without referencing the past. So as long as we are alive and developing forward, we will stay ahead of AI, I believe. And I think even graphic artists, I mean, you can now do things where you say fractal clouds and have a sky with like images that you can't take a picture anywhere of clouds like that, but now you can use that for inspiration for what you're creating as an artist. So I think a lot of artists and graphic artists can find ways to use these new AI tools in creative ways beyond just like replacing themselves. Because
let's hope so, John.
Let's hope so. Yeah. So Subsonic Arts, when did you start Subsonic? When did you start Subsonic Arts?
A bit more than 10 years ago. You can say in 2012.
Okay.
I was already working on some free products there before, but yeah, I really started it in 2012, and the year later, I released my first library. It was a contact library.
Okay.
It's not so much possible to find it now because I let it go. It's an old product, and by the way, I didn't want to go on scripting, which is wow, not
painful.
My cup of tea. Not my cup of tea at all.
Yeah.
But at that time, I already had some ideas like those you can see in ElectronicA.
Yeah.
I mean, you could use artworks and sounds together, blended, and that's what I'm doing thanks to Unify now. But then without the scripting, which is good.
Right. Well, a little scripting on the text file, but it's very basic compared to what you have to do inside of Contact to get something to work.
Very basic. And this I can manage. It's okay.
Yeah, really nice. Zion Samurai says, bought the sound pack, such an inspiration to me. The right pair of shoes to me. Making music nonstop since I bought it at noon. Thank you so much for the ideas, Fred. So that's great.
Thank you so much, Zion.
Yeah, we appreciate everybody that gets like. Let me give you a link for the library if you would like. It's at the pluginguru.com website. Just take a second here. Go right there. The link is in the video description already if you want to see it there as well. It's such a fun library. It goes so many places in the sonic universe. Let me ask you this. Why Repro-1?
Oh, that was for a change. because for now it seems that people think that I can only develop for Diva, which is of course one of my best synths. But yeah, I do love Repro-1 too. So I thought it was really nice to develop for computer Welt in its time, and I did some more tests, and yeah, it was perfect to develop a new electronic music library. And beyond that, I really loved the sequencer inside.
Yes,
it's really powerful one.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why. And but in a way, I love all the UE.
Yes. Yeah. Urs makes wonderful instruments. He has.
Yeah. And in the future, I will release some more for UE.
Yeah. I was thinking back. I've known Urs for over 20 years. We used to chat when Apple went to introduce audio units. He was one of the first people to say, hey, converting from VST to audio unit is easy. And he was actually helping other developers understand how to create audio unit versions of their plugins back in way back in the day when he did, I think it was called Zoid, his free synth. I made some patches for it. He's been around, been a dear friend for a long time. So I'm really happy for the success he has found, and his instruments are so inspiring. And yeah, I love Repro and the spirit of it. And it's really fun to me to see a monophonic sound and then see what it sounds like when it becomes polyphonic. It seems to, like, the character, I don't know, there's something really magical about that additional extension to, like, it becomes more than what it was in the first place. Do you find that too?
Yeah, John, indeed. And I'd say, really, I had in mind to develop a set for Unify as if it was a product for it.
Right.
Of course, I did Repro-1, but after that, I had in mind to go into Unify.
Yes.
And do some polyphonic. So it's a product. It's a product on its own.
Yes. Well, I tell you, it's the most fun integrated library. I mean, I've done libraries with artwork and stuff, but for all the different categories to have different images, and it's very fun to, like, go to the bass lines and these three guys pop up in the screen.
Yeah, that's my crazy mind, you know.
Yes.
I always have some kind of idea like this. I love the my main talent maybe is my imagination first.
Right.
I don't have to do anything to have ideas. It comes to me like this.
Yes.
It has always been, by the way. Even as a teenager, I always had some strange ideas with music and with sounds too.
Right.
And always wanted to tell other stories. See?
Right. Well, it's perfect.
It's something quite natural for me. So yeah, I like what is not usual in a way.
And now, during the day,
you go crazy for me.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful. And now, also interesting, I don't know if people know this, but you have a different job that you do during the day, right?
Yeah. You could say I've got 3 jobs. I'm a psychologist, and I help some people to go through unemployment.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also a psychotherapist, and I help also people to go through some bad moments. You say, and also I'm working on music, and I'm really tempted into musical therapy.
Yes.
The power of the sounds.
Yes.
To relax, to heal your energy. I'd say, because of course music is energy. Yes. It's frequency and energy, and then of course it's already known. You can find some music like this on the net, on YouTube to heal your aura or such.
Right.
So yeah, it's and all my, I'd say all my activities are related. Into my mind, it's not separated worlds. They go all together.
Right.
Because all the time I've got something to say when I produce some library. It's not only music. It's not only sounds. There are a lot of messages. Some people can get them, some can't, but it's okay.
I think that's what makes you very unique. Right. Having that understanding of the mind and being able to know how to it's like some of the sounds that I play from you, it seems like I'm getting a free massage of my brain.
Yeah, John.
Right.
It's the idea. But you know more than you can than you say, because we all know a lot in our mind and deeply in our unconscious. You could say. Right. So no, I'm quite sure you know a lot more than you think, more than your conscious part.
Yes.
If thinking, it knows, but no. So it's a universal message. Yeah, we've got all the same in conscience in a way. There is a universal part of the whole, all the human beings, you might say. So right. yeah, I'm using this, and it's only trying to be free in your mind.
Right.
So the more you're free into your mind, without any ideas, without any common ideas, see?
Yeah.
Those you can hear every time at school and so on. Yes. The more you get rid of those constructs, ideas already thought by others, the more you're like some kind of adventurer into your mind. Mm-hmm. The more you can have ideas that are quite universal symbols.
Right.
That's the word I'd like to use. Universal. Yes. See, so that's why it's talking to some people too, even if they are not from the same culture and all.
Right. See? Even different languages doesn't matter when it's music. Indeed. Music is above language, right?
And for images too.
Very true.
And message and some message are universal too.
Right. Yeah. You don't need words to help you understand something you can see. That's wonderful.
Yeah. It's like Daniela is writing. It's storytelling.
Exactly.
And to work to tell story to others, you only have to use your heart.
Yep.
And your imagination, and it's enough.
Yeah.
It's enough. And it's touching people there.
Yeah.
That's really deeply what I'm trying to do.
That's beautiful. I remember I met you, was it in 2019, Super Booth?
19, you say? Yeah, it was in 19.
That was 2019.
It was just before the COVID.
Yes. And
next year we couldn't go there.
That's right.
Remember.
That's right. But it was so nice to meet you, and it was the first time to meet you. And since then, we've now released. This is the third library. There's 2 libraries available. He does if you haven't seen or checked out Diva Station, but I highly recommend that library as well at our website. You also did one for the holidays that has gone away. It's called Cyberclaws.
Yeah.
Are we going to be able to look forward to something this coming holiday season? Who knows what's going to come?
We will see. For now, I can say that I'm working on several new projects. I never stop because in fact I'm some kind of new sound alcoholic, you might say. I mean, when something is done, it's like behind for me. It's hard to play with those sounds I've created.
Yeah,
I'm always wanting more to go further.
There you go.
No, I never stop. So for now, I think I'm working on 4 new libraries. 4.
Okay.
See, so yeah. You might see some more products from me in the future.
Well, we will for sure. I know that for sure. And Synth CPT can't keep up with you.
We'll see.
Well, so great. Hey, do you guys in the chat, do you have any questions for Fred? We'll take a few minutes to see if Bernie said Repro-1 is a must-have. Now, just so you know, when you look at the Yuhi site, Repro is a series of actually 2 synthesizers. There's the Repro-1, Repro-5. So you actually get 2 synthesizers when you buy that library. And Repro-1 is the monophonic 2 oscillator synthesizer, and then Repro-5 is a polyphonic. And there's a library I have at the website I have done for Repro-1 and 5, which has some patches for both. And it's such a fun synthesizer to program. As Fred was saying, the sequencer works really unique. You can set it to record and then play the notes in for the melody, and then set it to play and play one note and now play back the melody that you played in. It's really, really creative. And so as you can see from this library, I'll show you some more patches in a minute, but it's very, very flexible. Goes all over the place sonic-wise. I really was impressed. I'll just call up one of the bonus patches here in the the XBO. There's a lead right here that is just...
Oh, yeah, this is an old one.
I just love how even as you're doing the glide, it's got that kind of the stepping of the original, right? That is just such a... I mean, it's so nailed. I don't think I've ever heard that sound as so perfectly recreated as that on a synth. It's beautiful. Very theremin, you know? I mean, just wonderful. And we were talking that one of your favorite multis that you created here, I'll call it up here, is called the Walking Unified. And just so you see, check out, here's the interface for it real quick. I'll get it out of the way so we can see Fred again. But he's got the zombies in the artwork so you can...
Yeah, I did a demo for this one.
Yes, you did. It's such a great vibe. It's got the rock guitar from Unify added to the synth sounds. There's rhythm and stuff.
Indeed. Yeah, I love the power of Unify for that. I can mix my sound with yours.
Yes.
And then, we are like
it's
unified.
So fun. So it's a good combination to have a little bit of extra sounds at your disposal to enrich something you're working on sometimes. So you did it beautifully. It's wonderful. Well, thank you so much for your time. Let me see if there's any questions. What gives you inspiration for new patches?
Really hard to answer to this. It's a simple question, but I guess that the answer is quite hard to find. It comes to, as I said, it comes to me quite naturally. In fact, I realized such a long time ago that I just can't play. By example, if I buy a new library from others, I do.
Yes,
I do, and then I tried them, and super fast it comes to me to modify them.
Right.
I just can't play them how they are. It comes to me quite naturally. So yeah, but in a way, it always comes from my imagination.
Right.
I find a theme that I have in mind.
Mm-hmm.
By example, ElectronicA. In the future, I can say it. I'm working on a new set that would be dedicated to organic sounds.
Great.
To give an homage to the earth. So yeah, that's the theme I've got in mind, and then step by step I'm working on this, and it comes, and it never stops. It's like a steam.
Right. You're by the river of organic, and you just dip your cup in and drink some, and then get inspired and see what happens.
Oh, Bernie, do you want to marry me or what?
Are you married already?
We will see that.
I'll let you guys talk later. Well, I'm very excited. I think it looks like I'm going to be able to come to Super Booth this year. So it'll be really fun to see you and Bernie and Tim Dale and everybody and stuff like that. It'll be really, really fun. So I look forward to seeing you in May. We can't wait to see what you do next. I'm going to show the library, get people to hear some of the other sounds that are in this library and so forth. But thank you for your time. Right. It's so nice to have you on the stream. Hands together, head bowed. We will see you again. Yes, always. Hands together. Humble for you. Thank you so much.
See you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'll talk to you later, my friend. Bye-bye.
Okay.
Bye-bye. Well, that was very nice. Such a nice man. And because of his background and where he comes from, where his voicing work comes from and stuff, it's really special. And you can really hear it in the sounds that he has created. There's, let me just show you a couple of these that are really, really, this like Synth in the Rain is just unbelievable. So here's the image to go along with the... I mean, you can be lost for a very long time. I mean, hello. Oh, there you guys are. Just beautiful, beautiful sounds. A lot of these are splits, and in Unify's interface, you can see by the green, dark means there's no sound, light means there is a sound there, so. Make sure you go over to the knobs page because there's all sorts of things that are off. Take the ideas farther. There's a lot of these where you call them up. It's like a new planet. It starts with a set of groove and bass. But then on the knobs, and then these are really great to then put into your DAW. Set the drums to different MIDI channels if you want, so you can separate what parts are being played and when they're played. Then add to these. They're really, really useful for just putting together all of these patches in really cool, creative ways. Some of his effects patches are just really wonderfully so useful for... Just really, really fun stuff that reminds you Repro-1 is definitely a synthesizer that can go lots of places. And in Unify, let's look at the artwork real quick. Got some sort of rather interesting creature. It's a cool synthesizer too. I like the roots and stuff connected to it. So if you go over here and you set to Unify layer, go over to the bass lines, Then down here where you have the X is the sequence patches. Let's take this up an octave. What was the second one? Let's take that up 19, so it's a fifth. So just 3 patches, 4, with the special effect on it. Then find some drums. Go to the sound library called the BPM kick. And say load with no pitch shift. Turn the whole thing down just a little bit. That's just 4 patches from the library. There's 250. So there is so much that is fun to play with in this library. So I highly recommend, if you don't own Repro-1, this is a great reason to get Repro-1 because it is a beautiful synthesizer. Let's see here. Let's get to this. I love all the different poly patches. These are the ones where it's opened up. Let's change this back to be just normal load. So we can just say ElectronicA. I love this one. Now, normally in Repro, you can only play one voice, but here you can play chords. Just magical. Isn't that great? You did buy Repro-1. You will not be sorry by adding Repro-1 to your library. Really, really nice. Now, I don't think I have DivaStation, but let's do this. Reveal in the Finder. I'm going to show you his other library for those of you that might have Diva. It is an equally inspiring, beautiful, fun library. Just give me half a second to go like that, DivaStation. I'm not going to show you Cyberclaws because that would be teasing because that's no longer available. In the holiday season, he has, in the past couple of years, released these little libraries that are available for a short period of time. Then just like Santa Claus, they go away. So, oh, that's right. There are 4 Diva patches at the bottom of the list, I believe. This is Diva, which is another instrument that you will want to own when you when you hear these sounds because they're beautiful. It's almost a crime to change the patch while it's ringing out. You want to wait? No, can't change the patch yet. No, wait. Okay, now you can change the patch. So here's Diva. Let's close the directory, back to the main. What's fun with Diva is there's modifications and trimmers for uniquely setting things up. The effects section's wonderful. The effects are great. The oscillators can be changed between different types. Here's a 3 oscillator like a Mini Moog. If you go, no, I want it to be more a dual oscillator like a Roland synthesizer. There's all these different types of possible synth configurations inside of Diva. Really, really powerful. So the other library is DivaStation that he released. And it also has incredible synth, sound design, rhythm. It goes pulses, pads. Fred has a very beautiful vision, and it's really a joy to be able to bring that vision to you guys through my website and let you know about him. Great sounds. So we are happy to be able to represent Fred on our site. If you need inspiring libraries, you know where to come. Beautiful stuff. So there you go. Wonderful stuff. So thank you again, Fred, for the time to have a little interview time with you. That was wonderful. Now, I want to apologize. I sent out a newsletter last night, and I thought that I had updated the collective library, and I had not changed the link on the webpage. I have since fixed that. So if you do go to the pluginguru.com website, and if you do go to the home page and find the ElectronicA library, not the ElectronicA, I'm sorry, we're going to shift gears and talk now about the Guru Collective Library. Let me go over here and do a little housework before I bring this over to show you. So at the pluginguru.com website, Monosynth Nirvana, but then the collective library, let the patch making begin. If you don't have this, but you own Unify, we are now into phase 2. Over 20 of you guys contributed some incredibly beautiful samples to the library. I've given credit on the video description, I believe, for this. I added credit to everybody. The patches themselves, there's credit. I will show that to you now. This is the Plugin Guru Collective. There are 176 patches now. It went from the free original version had 2 patches. This and then the soft mallet, which I've now tuned. And then there is one bonus BPM patch at the end of the list for the right? Well, as you can see, it has grown. There's all sorts of textures, synths, special effects, like really cool stuff. The perk loops will require MIDI files for Kindle and other people to reprogram those. I decided I've been working rather hard to get this organized, and I edited the samples, normalized, fixed the gaps at the beginning of samples, looped almost everything in the library. It took a lot of work, but it was worth it to put this out. I'm kind of doing this in the way that we do Korg synthesizers. Whether you realize this or not, this is the process in the 90s that we went through for building the O1W and the T series and the Trinity and the Triton and the X3 is we would do sample creation, accumulation. There's the voicing team at Korg. There's like 7 of us. Someone in Italy named Kelly Paciulli, someone in Germany named Michael Geisel, someone in the UK named Tony Diaz. There's Jack Hotop on the East Coast of the US. I was on the West Coast with Ben Dowling, and we would each make a pool of samples, and then Korg would fly us to Japan. This is before the internet took off. And we would go to Japan, and we would sit in a room, and we would have all the samples put together into one, load them up one at a time because memory is so constricted and stuff like that. And we would go through and we would vote and pick out the sounds that we wanted to put into the machine. Then we'd all go back to our countries, and Korg would send us a prototype that had the final voicing of the samples, which is what we have done to this point. We are now to the point where you guys have created samples. I have gone through and curated, optimized, looped, tuned, mapped, organized it so that there's 1.8 gigabytes of sounds for us to work with for the next stage, which is now we need to make a synthesizer using these sounds to make new things. I mean, all these patches are done. So when you call up something like Crystalline Bell or something like that, at the current moment, I just have Plugin Guru as the author. If you go to the save page, this is the list of all the people. This is a DD patch, so it's from Dan Dibble. That's the way to see who different people are at this point. I'm sorry I didn't have the time to put the author in for everybody that made all the different patches. But we have log drums. We have it goes so many places. Justin Bell, Strange Tone. So all of these patches are just the basics of one layer playing this one sound. Okay? So we have 30 days. Maybe we'll take more time. We'll see how this goes. But we will do voicing. You guys get to be part of the voicing team. And that is where you make patches, and then you can send them to us at the email of unifysupport@pluginguru.com. There is details in the README. Let's see if I can find that here. Desktop. Let's see. Gotta go deep modified. Yes. So here is the collective. When you get this, there is now the 1.1v. The version 1v is the name of the Guru file you drag over here. It shows as 1.1, but will expand to be bigger. Inside of the collective README, there is now information here talking about this, the patch making process. Talk a little bit about the story I'm telling you guys, but we're not having to go to Japan to do this. A few notes I'm going to show you in a minute as to where to make, and then make your patches and send them to Unify Support. Don't send me the 1.8 gigabyte sample folder. The samples are all encrypted. It's not a licensed library, but we have a way to encrypt samples so that it's no longer just WAV files, so that everything is protected. Nobody can use these samples anywhere else. They are only for Unify. So if you go to samples and you go to the Guru Collective, instead of .sfz files and the samples, everything has been converted into a .gsd file. The samples are enclosed, but it's encrypted in a way that's not easy to get to. So they are no longer WAV files for you to work with. If there's tuning issues, I worked really hard on tuning, but with 176 sounds, there could be errors. If you guys find anything, please email us a list of samples that are out of tune. If you find something that's not in tune, I do know for a fact down here in the winds, a few of the saxophones and so forth are not in perfect tune. It kind of creates more of a little chorusing effect. Nothing that was like standing out too bad. But there you go. So this library has a lot of fun places it can go. And I want to point out, you'll see some things that say VCSL. One of the contributors used a couple samples from this library, and I decided to add a couple others. And at some point, we might convert the whole library. There's this thing. Let's see if I go VSL. It is the open source called the Vercillion Community Sample Library. It is on GitHub. It is an open source CCO general purpose sample library. Really good quality samples. I still had to do a lot of work because a lot of the samples were really soft. Some of them had space at the beginning of the samples and so forth like that, but it's a really, really nice library of 8 gigabytes, I believe, of samples. So some of the sounds from there that are in the library includes the vibraphone. I also included the xylophone, so one of our contributors contributed a beautiful ambient nylon guitar. Where I think he took samples from the library, then added reverb. Thing with the Vercillion sample library is they invite you to do anything you want to the samples. You can sell them, which I'm not going to sell them, but putting them into a free library like this, I created a harpsichord. And I used our trigger box to create note offs, which you can turn up louder if you want it to be even. Really, really nice. The soft piano is also from that library. So this is a cool library. Robert Peevler added a concertina. There's so many cool things. This is from Tim Dale. He has this really cool modular that has electricity stuff on it. We have ukulele. Single sample, sounds nice. This electric guitar tremolo. It's actually round robin, so each time you play the notes, we'll be playing different samples. We have kit. I decided to just put them all together. They're more sound designed, although there's a Baudron from Tim Dale. This is from a closet and coat rack. Whole bunch of samples. 2 maps. So I expect to hear some cool grooves. Make MIDI files, so forth. Kendall Cochran, he works in a mine, so he's got some really cool both loops and so forth. This is from Ian. Ian contributed. If we go up here and say I am, there's some really, really fun things in this library. That, let's see, it's gonna not. I'll have to find another way to categorize everybody so we can find particular ones. But some of the special effects are just super cool. I think you'll be really surprised by the library. The rain stick. This is the loop version. So you could take this, and down here are some really cool synth and textures. Jason gave us some really beautiful, we could take like Green Sound Gardens and load that. So and then we could add like the bass recorder, and now incredible string section called the Timid string section, which is also from the Vercillion sample library. There's Have Fun. Cool distorted things, water dripping from the ceiling. Saw blades. There's mini broods with cool pulsing in the samples. Tim Dale. No, not Tim Dale. Taylor Harris, my assistant, made really, really fun stuff. Even sound design things. These are from AST. That's Ash Foster. He did some really cool things with his System 1. So it's a crazy library. I am really proud with how this turned out. And we're just at the stage to start the next thing. So I'm curious what kind of voicing people will do taking these layers and sounds. I just did a really quick composite to give you a bonus patch to show you a couple things I'll cover in a minute. So this is just from this library. Such wonderful stuff, these recorders. Really, really nice. So this is a free library exclusive to Unify. So download it. It's free. Enjoy. If you have the desire to make patches and try layering, let's combine this with the vibraphone soft. And let's combine the pint glass. And then we want to like take the pint glass up an octave. And let's go over here to the arpeggiators and use blue arp. Let's set it to 8th notes. Let's go over here to the step type, turn them all off to start. And let's just have a handful of them be chords. Like that. And then let's go to random and turn on a couple for random. Now, I want the sound to stick out a little bit more. So we could try transposing it up another octave. Let's put a little reverb on it. And I want it to be a longer ringing out reverb, so let's go to decay. Now, to make it interesting and a little bit different, let's go over here. We're going to add, let's go to JX10. We haven't used the JX. Let's go to a comping synth. And let's go over here to the arpeggiators. Add into the blue arp. And let's have this just be doing a step type of just nothing but chords of 8th notes. But we're going to go over here to the velocity page. And let's play the velocity I'm just going to click around so I don't even know what this is going to do. And I want to transpose this up an octave, I believe, so that let's go to our parameters for this. Let's bring down the cutoff frequency. And to make this delay a little bit more, this reverb more interesting, I'm going to go over here to dynamics. Let's go to pump house. And I want the JX10's filter to be opening dynamically. So to do that, I'm going to go over here. I'm going to say pop that into an embedded Unify layer. So that way I can go over here and I can add a creative CC writer. This is talking on CC20. I want it to be maybe half a bar. And then go over here to the knobs. And let's say link parameter. I want this to be talking to the filter cutoff. And all we have to do to link it is right click on this macro knob and say, listen to CC20. And now it's going to start dancing. Then I can go over here and say, that's too much range. Maybe we want to have a little skip in the middle of it. Let's go over here and have a delay. And I would turn on the chorus. And then I'm going to right click on all of these guys and say, make that. So I need to shift with the option key on the transpose. Remember, you can go back to this video and pause and rewind and rewatch this if I'm going too fast. Then I can go up here to the basses and right click and say load into a new Unify. And then open up this Unify layer and find the bass. Incredible basses from Kindle. Thank you so much, Kindle. And let's have right click on the top note and say B. So now and there's, I think, this recorder. Instead of it just sitting there, let's get Pump House working. And maybe bring in a little noise box. And I want one more pump house after this. So there, that's kind of fun. So I've made a patch. This is their steps where you've made a patch, assign knobs, make sure everything is doing what you want it to do. Go to the save page and you need to change a couple things. Delete core, because this is no longer core. It's going to be a bonus patch. When you save your patch, add a Z at the beginning. This is a BPM split. Let's call it, since we're doing a live stream, let's call it Living Large. We'll call it Living Large. Why not? So categories, this is a BPM split. I'll just leave it at BPM split. You can go to tags, say this has a bass, FM. It's got JX10, so I want to say JX10, recorder, vibraphone, VIBRO phone. Pump House is in there doing its thing. I like to point that one out for this one. And then you could add your own description. Created during the April 1st live stream event. So I have taken a single patch and turned it into something. Right? So I invite you to do the same. Go save as and save. And because it has a Z, it will now show up at the end of the list, separated from the core 174 patches that are there. And then when we get to May 1st, all you have to do is go Reveal in Finder and find your patches here, zip them and send them to us. Now, if you do get more carried away, if you do make new MIDI files, if you do start doing artwork, there's a handful of patches in here. I'll go through, and I think I have some more images to match with some of the other ones, but like the toy xylophone, these have artwork. The key, where is it at? The concertina has artwork that you can call up. You can do stuff like that. There's also ways to make the artwork where it changes the interface graphic. I think I did for this one. Yeah. To be a custom. I think it's hailing outside. Crazy. You can do that as well if you want for your artwork. Make sure you combine all those assets when you send to us the stuff that you create for May 1st. Which means if you want, you can just go to the folder and zip up these 3 folders and send them to us, and then we can pull out the new creations, the new files you've created and so forth. But it's a chance to like see what can we do with all these sounds. It's really, really fun to take things like these special effects that are really... Take something like this. Since this has a lot of low frequency, you might not want. You want to have just like that height, the ear candy thing. So go over here and add like a filter max. And then go looking through the library. I don't think it could be with strings, but maybe one of the synth sounds. Like maybe this iPad might be cool. And then what I like to do sometimes is go over here and say, replace this with the embedded instrument, which means instead of being a Unify layer, because I'm going to want to edit this. So instead of having to go in to edit all the time, also you notice that we have all these effects in here and so forth, right? There's delay, reverb, and then 3 effects on the master. If you go over here and you say, replace with the embedded, it gets rid of all those effects and it just replaces it with layer 1. And all of these are, for the most part, except for the harpsichord, which has the release off samples, everything is just a single layer. So now it's just a matter of just going like this to open, change the envelope, and maybe we can like, let's see, we've got to tune this down some. Let's give it an enveloping so it goes fading in, fading out, fairly long, fading down to quiet. And you can get into where you can find some really dreamy, and put this through the delays, reverb. Find things like this, that where you're able to combine different elements to make new sounds, where it's not just the 2 sounds layered, but you're actually modifying them. Now, I'll make one more patch. We'll do this really quick. So we say duplicate this. I have an idea. Let's take this up an octave. And I'm going to duplicate it one more time and make it so that it's up 19. So we have more of a cool chord. Let's pan these two left and right. Maybe put a phaser, anything that's got high frequencies. Then you can go looking at your modulations with like phase mod. Go over here to the speed. Right? So there's all sorts of ways. Let's go save Z pad Hanger Dreams. Angie, Hanger Dream. Again, remove core, give your credit for yourself so it's no longer plugin goods. Something like that. And if you want to add categories, this is a pad and it has motion, so we can say 2. This has bright, warm, motion, hangers, ANGERS, system 1. Whatever you want to add. You don't have to add a lot of tags if you don't want to. Made during the April 1 live stream. Save as. Save. So it's all up to what you guys want to create. So there's all sorts of ways to treat the samples. Don't be afraid to put a filter max into the system so that you can bandwidth and limit certain samples so that you're just taking elements of certain sounds. It's really fun to take 3 sounds and only use like the high frequency from one sound, set a band pass for the middle sound, and then low pass filter and filter that down for the third part. You can create all sorts of really cool sounds, then find places for motion. Remember, you got splits, layers. You can go to the standard library and play with any of these patches to get inspiration, even using these. Let's go up here and say wave sequence WS. You could take one of these guys here that's doing a wave sequence and then open up each Guru sampler and just point it instead of here. Say collective. I'm not going to save whatever I do because I don't want to make all the patches, but I want you guys to make some. But you could say bells for one. Well, this is holding sustain on this particular one, so you might want to go over to pads and have things that are going to be sustaining. Church, so over here. So just go down the list. Guru Collective, go to the pads. Look at all of the sounds in this library. It's just crazy. So we could go flute. Let's go to the third one. Let's say the collective right here. Let's take a texture like serene sky. So now this first one should be more solid. So let's go to the pads. Where's pads? Let's take it down an octave. We would bring up the LFO. Go over here to the notes. Set it to sync because this way it will keep it going even if it gets new notes. See, like eighth notes. Now we need to change the phase. And then this can be one component. Once you've played with this, go like to the Voxes or something, or a pad. say load this into a new Unify layer, and now in this case there's a pump house on the master. Turn that off. Or turn this on, but find some other different pattern for it to play instead of this one. We could, like for rad waves, I gave you guys a whole bunch of really cool new patterns. All sorts of ways to use these patches. And for a library like this, it's totally okay to start with other patches and go from there if you want. They don't have to be, when I'm doing new libraries, I'm going from scratch for everything I create. But for these, you're welcome to start with the inspiration of, there's 640 patches. So there's a lot of different factory patches. Go to the vocoder patch. I'll go, oh, that'd be fun. But instead of using that voice sample, open up this Guru sampler. This is what's being used for the pad. Go over here to the collective. Let's say we want to use, let's do something weird. Let's use a data stream chord. Let it be kind of weird. Go over here to notes. Then go over here to the BPM drums and find something to layer with it. Go to the BPM drums and say like Rhythm Freak. Add that to a new layer. There's also the drum groove that's powering the vocoder you can play with. There's all sorts of places to play with all these patches and use the samples in this library. If you do go over to the standard library and play things, make sure when you go to save that you change the library to the Guru Collective so that it gets saved into that folder. Don't save it into the standard library or else it's going to not show up as a collective and then you get lost. So make sure before you save that you go to library name and choose Collective Volume 1 for where you're going to save your patches. Okay. Yes. So I'm doing a lot, but watch these in slow motion and pause the videos. Let's do one more. I'll do one more from scratch using one of the patches from the library just to show you another. Let's take a synth patch. Okay. First of all, let's change the shape of it. Maybe we'll put a little delay on it. Then I want to find something to put with this. And it's kind of got a pluck quality for me. I'm thinking, oh, I should see what we have in the pluck category to play with. There's a really nice marimba that Tim provided. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to right click and I'm just going to shortcut everything and just say, add this instrument layer 1 to the patch. So instead of making a new Unify layer, this goes to the you could load a Unify layer and then I showed you guys how you could use this to pop it out of the Unify layer. If you right click on a patch, you can shortcut just to adding that layer really quickly. Then I'm gonna look at this. This is a single sample. So shift won't do anything to the characteristics of the sound. If we use other sounds, like let's go looking for the bells. Since I now have a patch, I can now surf through all these samples to see what I want to use instead of what I started with, right? Log drum. And this has a whole bunch of samples, which means when I shift, it's able to change a character. Now, since that's kind of a warm, organic sound, I could try to find something that's bright to add to it. Let's do something really weird. Let's add something like, let's add the rain stick. This might be fun. So let's go to the looped version, right click. I'm going to say load into Unify 1, just the layer. I want to make it so it's just Unify itself. And instead of it slowly starting, I'm going to move the sample start. And I want it to decay out. But I want it to random, which means that randomly it's going to now choose different sample starts. So it doesn't sound the same. And I'm going to move this up just a little bit, make sure it's not clicking. I don't want release. And then if I wanted, I could go like, I'm going to go high pass filter because I only want high frequencies. I hear some tuning I have to work on the log drum. Hard to tune a log drum. That log drum I actually had to do a lot of work with. It was distorted from the recordings, but I used RX to remove the distortion, clean it up. Thank God for RX. I was doing batch processing of normalizing and fixing distortion and all sorts of things. So if we want to add some reverb to the rain stick, I'll have to fix that sample. It's off by 16 cents. So, but other notes are in tune because I tuned a lot of it. So we could now, let's say we like this. It's kind of fun. Or go, yeah, maybe not a log drum. Maybe I want something else. So just open up that layer. That's fun. But I wanted to have a little bit more fun to the attack. So I'm going to use Jitterbox to randomize the bell. And let's add a little reverb to the bell. Kind of cool. So we could go save this as, this is a bell patch. So Z, bell, ballerina in the rain. Tags, this is a bell, synth, and percussion. Rain stick. The author is yours truly. So layering and combining things made during the 4-1 live stream. Categories bell. Yeah. So save as, save. So there. That will give you a couple ideas, a couple examples to work with. Make sure when you go to the save page that you take core off, put a Z at the beginning of the name, and have fun. Make things that are creative and fun. Right? So, John's talking about collectives. We're collecting everybody. No, it's really fun that 20 people sent so many really fun, creative, these. Gentleman in France named Yves created these patches from a VL70M, a physical modeling synth that Yamaha released in the 90s. Like, there's also some really nice brass. They're short looped, so it's back to like workstation days, but they came out. Hopefully somebody's going to do some big band things where you layer this and the trumpet, the saxes, pan them, put jitter boxes on each one so that they have different timings, so that they have the sound and the vibe. If you add the soprano, add the baritone, do some key windowing maybe so they only work in certain ranges. Then go over here and add jitter boxes to each one of these. And let's say like maybe like 60 milliseconds, right? So all you have to do, I'll show you a really cool shortcut. So add the jitter box to each layer. Don't worry about the settings because I set them for that bottom one, right? So go jitterbox, 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 jitterbox. I'm not going to save this. I'm not going to save this. Somebody else has to do this for the library. Jitterbox, jitterbox, jitterbox. So there's this one here, which has the settings, let's say like maybe 50 milliseconds. So there's random possibilities of up to 50 milliseconds per note per layer. So all you do is you hold down Control and Shift and click this bottom one, and then hold down Shift and click all these other four. And just like that, it now has the exact same parameters. And pan them, do some fun things, do some variety of different things. These use lots of a number of samples, so you should be able to use Shift, but so brass type ensembles, sax ensembles, all sorts of things. Right? So have fun. Make stuff like, I'm not going to save this. I'm not going to save this. Oop, it's gone. Thank you, Alberto. Frozen pizzas can be good if you got the right frozen pizza. Well, you know, Unify kind of becomes, as Andrew says, I often find myself using Unify and getting lost in the fun. Very little time getting into the DAW and recording anything. Well, that's you got to get to that stage at some point, right? So, but there's all of these sounds. There's crazy stuff. I've been involved in lots of synthesizers. Let me tell you, if we had this as a ROM, we could make a really cool product that we would sell. And so this will always be a free library. Bob Dedes did incredible whistling. There's airy and mellow. Hopefully somebody will do a velocity switching between the two. Cool textures. Right? And remember, Pump House is right there on every patch. And you can go over here and turn it into all sorts of cool rhythmic things really easily. I found out, Shane told me this. Yeah, it's Shift. If you hold down Shift, it will now snap to grid. And if you use, I believe it's Option, that lets you raise the value of something without it changing its position. So let's do like this and So you create all sorts of, just because something is a noise, it can become a really cool rhythmic element, which then if you go and you add a kick and stuff like that to it, becomes really interesting stuff you can get into. Right? So just have some fun, make some fun patches, just get lost, because that's what Unify is all about. Next week, I will show you how to get images into Unify so that you guys can work on Midjourney or Photoshop or photos or whatever you want to do to have it so that when you get to the part where you have a patch and you want to like take, like Fred has done with his patches, and take it farther and share a graphic visual tie-in to it. I'll show you guys how we can do that next week. I mean, these are just rough. Oh, I'm back in the standard library. Sorry, that's why I'm like, I'm not seeing the stuff I'm not Dream State, but well, Dream State has a lot of images tied to the stuff, but Guru Collective, the tying it into where you have artwork like this, so you can click and the whole interface is replaced with some cool image for the work. We'll show that next week. They're very fun samples to work with, and yeah. Oh, good. Awesome. So there's tons of fun stuff. Houston, it's awesome you're getting involved. That's great. Thank you. Oh, great. Yeah. When you get into cool vocal samples and reverb, it's kind of game over. So anyway, thank you for joining us. Let's do our shout outs. Shout out from wherever we are. A shout out from Portland, Oregon here. It's very nice to see all of you and keep the fun going. Yes. Magnolia Stones, thank you so much, man. The glass keys is really, really cool. It's really fun. So many people got to be involved with this. The ukulele JPD. You're combining this with the acoustic guitar. And then remember, the fun thing with this whole thing is any of the patches inside of the Unify standard library. So you can go here to guitar, way down here, E, F, G. You could go to like jazz guitar in space. They can all be layered. Combine the Martin if you want to have even more. Remember the Option key. One of the most important things is Option Alt key, and changing the volume of one will change the volume of all instrument layers and all auxiliary bus layers, so that they all come down together, keeping the relationship that they have, so that you can make sure you're not overdriving. Play at least 6 notes hard, and then bring down the levels so that it's where you... Make sure you go to the little bullet on the master outputs, replace from layer preset, go to the master presets and the optimizer light. That is what we use on virtually every patch inside of Unify. It takes the sound from this, nice but kind of flat, very easy amount of compression, small amount of EQ, but it's now available so you can shape. And then Loud Max is doing just a little bit of saturation at the end. Very important to have this stage. It will keep it from distorting if you go above distorted 0 dB levels. But still make sure you hold down Option or Alt and bring down the volumes of everything As you add more layers, you need to turn the layers down because you're just adding more energy to the patch. So, hope all this helps. Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. Shout out, look, we got Germany, Japan, Kasaka-san, arigatou gozaimashita. Domo. Berlin, Germany. I'll see you soon, Alberto. I'm going to be coming out there in May. Finland, yay. We got Michigan, Florida, Netherlands. Fred up in Subsonic Arts headquarters in Russia, in France. Shout out from, good to see you, Steve, in San Diego. Maine, cool. Welcome to, it's good to see you all, okay? So enjoy, have fun with the collective, enjoy the patches. Don't forget Fred's new library is just such a great library. There's other libraries that we've released this coming, let's see, I think we got everything until the 15th on their introductory prices. So there's the new library from Drew Schlesinger for Mini Freak, Tim Dale's Dark Forces. Actually, that's the one. Tim Dale's library has just 2 more days for Omnisphere 2 at its introductory price. So that is coming to an end. So if you want a library for Omnisphere 2, that's really inspiring and beautiful. There you go. Yeah. And there's so much to show you. Next week, I will be giving you guys some teasers for the next library, which is coming from Bob Deedes. It's epic. It's just for Unify. I think it weighs in at over 5 gigabytes. It's atmospheric. It's awesome. Awesome library. That will be coming up next week to show you guys what's going on there. Always new stuff. We're always pushing forward and coming with new libraries and stuff like that. So, yeah, thank you so much, everybody. We will see you in the next week. Oh, but do you know if SynthMaster 2 has... Andre, I don't know. I'm not sure. You could email SynthMaster. He's really good with his support at... email him. I'm not sure, especially about previews. That's something that I don't know if they've integrated that into the software for their plugins or not. But you can ask them and they will know. Because I don't know. Okay. All right, you guys. Cheers. See you later. Take care. Have a great week. Be inspired. Cool.